You said something about observing. You're saying you're honing your craft by reading a lot, but observing. Yes. I like the observing.
Yeah.
Because observing requires you to do what a lot of leaders don't do, which is shut up.
And I'm not good at shutting up, by the way, but I'm learning to. I'm learning to.
Yeah.
I'm learning to, and we don't often observe. I mean, when I learned to drive my car, my uncle taught me. And he used to get so angry with me when we were in the car together because he'd be like, but why don't you ever watch me while I'm driving? So how will you learn? And I'd be like, but I'll learn when I'm sitting behind the wheel and, you know, you. And I think that's how we assume that leadership should come to us. That, you know, one day you'll get promoted to a certain title, and therefore when I get to that title, I shall therefore become. And over the years, what I've learned to do is there are things about people that I admire. And you observe and you learn from people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And you know why that for me is so important? Is because one of the key, there's a step I call moving from understanding to wisdom. There's gathering info, we'll talk about that later, gathering info, then gathering knowledge, but then realizing knowledge is not understanding.
Yeah.
There's a step of moving from understanding to wisdom that entails how you absorb others.
Yeah.
And absorbing others actually comes from this construct of observing, but also having the magnitude to admire. Because one of the tough things about leadership is being able to say, you know, there's something about that person that I really like.
Yeah.
And I'm going to spend time observing and so how do you observe?
I interact, I watch, I learn, I think about my own emotions and reflect on how people make me feel. So
wow.
In this, I think the one thing to note is I observe and I learn even from people I don't like.
Wow. Okay.
And from even little different things. So I'm going to use you as an example.
Oh, wow.
We work
cool.
together, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things I really learned from working with you was compassion.
Okay.
Compassion and like deep thinking. Because we'd have these discussions, right? You'd walk away. Like a week later, Vic would come into my office and he'd be like, you know, CJ, I've really been thinking about this. Like, you know, we've really got to think about people. And, you know, you're such a compassionate soul. Yeah. And so if I use that as an example, one of the things I would, if there was a discussion we had like that and I hadn't resonated in that way about a particular issue, it was a point of reflection for me to say, did I just just attack that as an accountant? Was it just there are debits? For every debit, there's a credit, you know? And I forgot that maybe there are people behind this. Is there something I've missed in this situation that Vic has picked up? And that tends to be the way I look at things. I'm quite a stubborn soul, and we can have a debate today, and I might seem to not shift. But I can tell you, as I'm driving home today, I'll be thinking about it and reflecting and thinking, okay, so maybe next time I need to bring this in. And that's for me just a continuous learning.
So what enables that? And this is where you're talking about this self-awareness and self-reflection. What enables that? Because a lot of people see, observe, and still go and move in, 180 degrees. So let's let's take our economy. Let's take our country, right? And we have leaders in all sorts of positions. We have come from a very difficult 10 years. We are entering a new era. We then have this pandemic. And the very thing that caused our problems in the last 10 years is the very thing that some people think this is the direction to go. So how do you arrive at this ability to reflect, even admitting I'm stubborn, and go away and not just reflect, but come back and say, I'm going to do something different?
Yeah. It's a journey. It's a journey. It is.
It is.
And one of the elements that was key for me in that journey, Vic, was getting comfortable with who I am.